This video is sponsored by War Robots. Everything Sucks is another Netflix original set in a high school, because you guys love to eat that shit up apparently, but unlike all those other ones, this one is very different. This show is set in one of the greatest eras to be alive, 1996, a time of Tamagotchis, Wonderwall and VHS tapes. Though I do need to point out a slight nitpicks I had with the show. In one scene there's a kid who has a mobile out, which kind of ruined the immersion for me. I think they were playing a mobile game. I think it was called War Robots. War Robots is a War Robots game that you can play on your phone. Unless you have a Nokia 3310, that only has Snake. War Robots is a tactical 6v6 multiplayer game. You don't get that on Snake, do you? War Robots shits on Snake. Bring your best strategy and join over 70 million players that have the game installed. With rich 3D graphics and so many robots to choose from, you can define your gameplay to a point where it's almost as if it's your own unique game. There's constant updates, with new robots, maps, game mods. You can support the channel by downloading and playing a free game. So install War Robots now, and get a huge starter pack of VHS robots, 1 thunder weapon, 2 pinita weapons, 100 gold, and 400,000 silver. Everything Sucks as a story meanders and stumbles through its plot with no real focus on anything. Things just generally happen for no rhyme or reason. It's a series of characters you don't like, deciding to do things, and then realizing what they were doing wasn't right. The show is set in the town of Boring, Oregon, which is ironic because the show is really creepy in places, and Oregon has more ghost towns than any other state. Also, it's really fucking boring. Our main characters are all part of the school's AV club. There's Luke, Tyler, McQuaid. They're all nerds and not massively popular. A Netflix original set in high school, banking on nostalgia with a group of nerdy kids that are part of an AV club. Oh, this is original. On the first day of high school, Luke instantly falls for Kate. They talk, they become friends, and then he asks her out by making a Wonderwall music video. Kate says yes, but she's actually currently questioning her sexuality. She might be into women, but as she's 14 years old, she's scared of being bullied and keeps that all to herself. Now this is actually pretty interesting and is probably the only part of this show which is done with subtlety. When Luke likes Kate, he has 3 scenes where he repeats the same shit over and over again.
She's really nice and smart and artistic, but not in an obvious way, just is. And she's really into music, and I like you a lot.
But with Kate's sexuality, it's internalized so much that the audience is left to do some of the thinking. However, this all goes to shit when Kate actually starts talking about it. Once Luke finds out that Kate is a lesbian, he tries to make her his prisoner girlfriend by doing favors for her, taking her on dates and getting moody when she doesn't want to kiss him. He just thinks that if he does as many good deeds for her, she'll make out with him out of pity. But Kate breaks up with him and Luke realizes that she can't help being the way she is, blah blah, art completed, well done Luke, gold star. It's a real shame because after the breakup with Luke, all this stuff showing Kate going through a change in identity, understanding her sexuality, and starting to talk to people close to her about what she's going through just stops and dies. There's no tension. No one cares that Kate is a lesbian anymore, and she even starts to date someone who bullied her for being a lesbian. When Kate is with Emmeline, she becomes so bad at acting. These two have the worst chemistry, and I thought she was bad with Luke. It might have something to do with the massive age gap, as the actress who plays Kate is 14, whereas the actress who plays Emmeline is 20. And yes, they do make them kiss. They had an interesting dynamic with Kate and her dad and with the students at the school, so a light-hearted look into what it's like coming out as gay in the 90s could have been fairly cool. But I just don't get why they dropped all of it for this shit instead. So the main thing you gotta know about Luke is he's a filmmaker, he's a young Spielberg, and he loves making movies. Look at that passion. Except all the kid talks about is wanting to get with Kate. He's never watching movies, arguing about movies, you don't see him storyboarding or doing anything other than making a movie, but he always seems pissed off about it. Hey Netflix, have you seen Son of Rambo? That quirky little film about some kids making a movie. They've got ups and downs and they change as people, but in the end, when they screen the film, there's a moment where it all comes together. Why didn't you do something like that? Luke's making a film with the drama club for a majority of the show. The movie is a so bad it's good generic sci-fi film, but we never really know what it's about, and they make the film easily without any issues. The only problem they have is this blue screen which doesn't work properly, but then the principal just pays for them to go and film that scene in California, but then they don't have a permit, and then she's just been put in the movie and then the teacher fucks her. This is the format of Everything Sucks. There's a problem, it's easily solved, and then they move on. Anyway, it ends with them screening the movie, everyone loves it, and Luke puts a message in there for Kate.
We don't choose who we are as our gender. We belong in different worlds, and it breaks my heart we're not meant to be.
Wait, I thought you already learned that lesson before. Did you just go through the same character arc twice? That makes for really shit TV. Luke's mum and Kate's dad start dating as well. The only thing stopping them is Luke and Kate. Luke goes from being really against it to really for it after one conversation with Kate, so all the scenes with the adults are just generic rom-com stuff. There's just no real stakes here. There's nothing taboo or forbidden about their romance, and I find it weird that they wanted to fill up their teen comedy with scenes like this. Kate's dad is also the principal of the school. He's pretty well performed and he's a fun character. But in one scene he's dancing to music in his car and then he gets home and the music's still playing for some reason. So I think this scene should actually look more like this. Speaking of over-the-top performances, let's get into the drama jocks. So normally in high school dramas, you've got the popular sports jocks bullying the nerds. In Everything Sucks, we get over-the-top theatre students bullying nerds with prank calls. I love this. They get pissed with Luke and the gang when their set gets destroyed by a fire alarm they pulled. They terrorize the nerds in the most extreme way. It's amazing how Oliver and Emily start performing over-the-top cringy Elizabethan scenes in front of the school. All they want to do is just act. That's all they care about. And they remind me a lot of Jesse and James from Pokemon. It's such a nice change from the generic blockhead jocks I'm used to seeing in shows like this. But ultimately, by episode 4, this all goes to shit. Luke proposes making the movie with them, and all the tension and threat they exerted vaporizes. Oliver remains pretty entertaining. They try to give him a similar bond with Tyler as Steve has with Dustin in Stranger Things, but obviously it's forced and shit. And then Oliver runs away to New York for no reason. He doesn't learn anything or change. He's just gone now and he's not coming back. But right before he leaves, we have the best scene in this show in which Oliver, Emily, McQuaid and Tyler get high on nutmeg in the woods. I'm not joking, they get high on nutmeg in the woods. This scene doesn't affect the characters or plot in any way, but it's conceptually so weird and goofy that you just can't help but love it. However, this is a family-friendly channel, and I feel it's important to avoid promotion of any sort of drug, so I've prepared a quick PSA about the dangers of using nutmeg.
This is nutmeg, and this is the drug that ruined my life, and it will ruin yours too if you don't learn how to say no. I was 19 years old, going on 20. It was my birthday. 3 weeks away from starting pilot school. Just out partying with some of my mates, having a good time, you know. And then I run into this guy, yeah? And me and this guy start talking, and he's like, "Oi, mate, do you fucking party?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, you know I fucking party." And he's like, "Right, there's this new thing on the scene, this new drug on the scene, and it is a party kicker, do you know what I'm saying?" And I was like, "Whoa, sounds rad, mate." Looking back on that now, if I'd just said no, my life would have been completely different, but I didn't. My eyes pricked up, I'm like, "What is this, man?" And he's like, "It's nutmeg." "Nutmeg?" I says, "What's all that about?" He's like, "Bro, you just gotta try it to know." 27 teaspoons in, and the next thing I know, I'm in Honolulu, fucking completely naked, fucking a pig, man. All I'm seeing is little gremlins walking around me. It's mental, man. It's a party in the brain, dude. My mouth's dry as a fucking teapot, man. I started getting the cravings. I wanted more. Started getting really fucked up, you know. Nutmeg makes you trip, you know. taking as much nutmeg as I could, fucking channeling the whole thing down my mouth like there was no fucking tomorrow. Your mouth's constantly dry, man. Before I know it, I'm homeless. Then I started doing bigger crimes, stealing from houses, yeah? Not a big deal. Got my mate Gazza into it, we were party animals, man, we weren't stopping, do you know what I mean? He fucking... Gazza, man. He took 30 teaspoons instead of 27, fucking died. It ruined me. That's when I knew I had to sort myself out. Fucking kick the shit, do you know what I mean? Kick it. Fucking going cold turkey on nutmeg though, that's a whole fucking scene. Takes 3 years to get off the shit, man, and it's the worst. It's the worst thing you've ever been through. I've seen the devil, and its name is Schwartz Nutmeg Ground. Now you're probably wondering, is there some sort of punchline to this overly long NitPix cutaway gag? But no, there's no punchline. All there is are these words. Don't do nutmeg. Not even once.
Everything Sucks feels proper ADHD when it comes to the tones. It is regularly sputtering between quirky comedy to serious and sentimental, and either attempt feels weak as they never fully commit to a consistent tone or feeling to the show. In the end, it just results in you not really being able to fully know if they were trying to be funny, or whether you should take a dramatic moment seriously. Hello and welcome to another episode of What is the Joke? Today we are looking at the series Everything Sucks. Particularly we'll be observing the infamous bus scene in which the Christian girl dances. Now ladies and gentlemen, what is the joke? Is it option A, the fact that the tape is stuck and the bus driver hates it? Or is it option B, the girl's dancing is bad and everyone on the bus finds her funny? Or is it C, maybe this isn't a comedic scene but a feel-good one, allowing the characters to feel strong? The truth is that is a trick question and I have no fucking clue! So yeah, it just makes for a rocky viewing experience basically. The show works best when it gets surreal, like with the jocks of theatre being villainous and melodramatic, but even then, it's hard to tell if they were purposely aiming for these characters to be over the top and cartoony, or if it was just an issue with the directing. The clearest example of this intensive clash of tones is a scene in which Luke convinces the drama students to make the film with him. In this scene, it opens up with them bullying the kids by covering them in makeup, which could feel playful if the drama students weren't framed in such a predatory way throughout the scene. After this, Luke and his friends stand up on the stage and have to actively think of a way to avoid being beaten up by the jeering drama students. This is when Luke pitches the movie to them. This is a scene that seems like it's trying to be lighthearted, but ends up feeling pretty sinister. But it gets worse as they force the young boy to drink a whole 6-pack of beer and continually degrade him. They try and frame this in a funny way, making the scene seem like one of relationship building, as opposed to what it is, which is objectively abuse. Another bizarre element to the show is Luke's character. He's a 14-year-old kid, but he acts like a 30-year-old man. This, plus his obsession with Kate, makes him seem incredibly creepy.
I'd like to make a toast to my girlfriend, Kate, and her generous father, Mr. Messner. Here's to what I hope is many more Chinese takeout dinners.
I never believed that he's a child once. There are two couples, Luke and Kate, and their parents who are in their 40s. One couple drives out to Portland to sit and listen to a concert, and the other couple smoke weed and have a giggle. But in this topsy-turvy, upside-down world, it's not what you expect. The old couple smoke weed, and the young couple drive to Portland. Look at them, they're acting middle-aged. I'm not even sure if this contrast is deliberate, but it's fucking weird. Everything Sucks ends on a cliffhanger, but season 2 hasn't been greenlit, and honestly, that's music to my ears. Not everything sucks about everything sucks. Sorry, I just wanted a good title. but a lot sucks about everything sucks. And this is just another example of the complete oversaturation of copious amounts of Netflix originals. We've all noticed it, and we've all been talking about it, but we now exist in a space in which Netflix have created their own echo chamber, in which creators want to cash in on the success of other Netflix originals. For House of Cards, you have Designated Survivor. For BoJack Horseman, you have Big Mouth. For Stranger Things, you have Everything Sucks. And with each of these poorly thought out emulations targeting the same audience, we see the platform become more and more diluted and more shit being greenlit because it's easier and cheaper to produce. And the truly depressing thing is, we can't change it now because too many people are willing to settle for shit. Also, bring back Rooster. I'm not done with that meme. Bring him back. But have you seen Everything Sucks? What did you think about it? Let me know down below. Make sure to subscribe to my account. Make sure to check out my Patreon. Make sure to follow me on Twitter. Check out my Discord. That's it. I'm done. 20 seconds. Click these pictures. Click next video. Click the one recommended for you. Click on my commentary tracks. Go, 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 go!